Howie. All right. I think we are kind of...
Join.
There he is.
Hey.
See how he does that? He just pops in right when we're live.
Did it work?
It worked. It went straight in. It gave me a little chime in my ear, and then you appeared.
Perfect. How long have we been live?
I hit live after I text you the link again. So
perfect.
What are we at?
Hello, everyone.
19. So like 30 seconds.
Nailed it.
Nailed it in true Vlogpaster style. And
man.
you've got
I'm
a
here.
wide lens on.
Do we need to readjust?
No,
Yes.
I think it's perfect. I think we're good.
I've got my little sleep mattress lady in the back. We're good to go.
Oh, Genevieve says red
See?
lines are so helping. There we go. There. Sleep
Where's she?
mattress.
Where's she?
I can't
Crush! Crush!
do There's her head. That's all right. I've got a bunch of idolatry behind me.
I saw that. Oh my goodness.
This is
Nothing
good
else
stuff.
to do. Honestly, I don't know if you... Whoa, check out that lag. Honestly.
I don't have a
it's
lag.
I was like a full second behind on my end.
You know what I forgot to do?
Woo.
Oh, poo. Did I actually delete that stuff? How do I open my trash bin? Oh, there it is. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay,
Whoa.
lots of eCam recordings, yes. I need to delete all of that.
Whoa.
Free that up. Empty trash. I've got to remember, should I... Yeah, I think I'm just going to record straight on this. What happens if I hit record on that?
Just in time.
Just in time for me to break it?
Yeah.
All right, let's
John
look
says,
at some of these.
just in time.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've caught a live one. Charles Nickens in the house. Good to see you. Genevieve says Grandma and I are waiting to watch. They were here. John was here, but waiting for another call. Just in case you guys get started on time.
Yeah, not a prayer.
I did tell him that, we were going to be running just a hair late. And then he said...
Totally me, guys. Totally me.
I'll be waiting for the music to start in the background then. The delay works in my favor this time. And he says, in the meantime, I could watch Josh's new video that just dropped.
Indeed. You could even, dare I say, listen to Josh's new video. So I watch that particular style of content. I listen to. So if it's a topic that I'm interested in and I know that they're going to be anchored off at the desk, I will more often set it up and I'll glance over if they reference something, and then I'll continue on about my business. That was the first ever Joshua Verwer's video that I listened to predominantly. It's like, oh.
And didn't watch. There wasn't a lot
Well, I'm not a wrestler.
Oh, no, not that one. There's another one. We're talking about the newest one.
I have to take this.
Oh, well, fine. You do what you've got to do. You do what you've got to do. See what he's doing now? He's already taken the headphones off. He's just gone. He's gone. He gone. Sometimes when he does that, I just think it'd be fun to do this. There, that way we can't read his lips either. Okay, what do we got here? Vlog pastors while waxing the church's floors. That is perfect. John said, got lines. David Bryan 4. Howdy, good to see you. Yes, red lines were so helping. It was. John says, just in time for Josh to try to break things again. That was the thing. I was going to try out the new AI. I don't even remember what it's called. It's a Premiere Pro plugin that you can put into auto edit podcast and stuff. And it does all the different camera cuts and whatnot. So I was going to do that. And I thought what I would do is record mine dedicated, record Jarrod's. I've got his in the ISO, I think is what it's called, isolated video, do isolated audio as well. But if I could do this video too, I can set it and record it in Ecamm, but I think Ecamm does a much larger file size. I just don't know what happens if I press record while I'm streaming. I have a feeling that I'm going to, like, lose something. Should we try it right now? Maybe. Jen says, I got my new Love by Faith hat on. Live by Faith. Yeah, as you can see, I got one mine. I finally got another trucker. By the way, if you guys want some of these, joshuaververs.com. You can find them over there. Except for Genevieve's, I don't have that one on there yet. She got, this is the blackout version. So black under visor, black here, black there. So it's just the blacked out version. But I believe she got a whiteout version that I do not have on the website yet. I didn't know if there would actually be that much of a demand for it. So, didn't really do it. But to give you guys kind of an idea, I wonder if I can do this. I'll try to break it again. Scene overlays. Let's do a new screen share overlay. Let's select the other secondary. And then if I go boom, and then I can stretch this up a little bit. I think we're going to have to move floating baby Jarrod. Where's he at? Where's he at? Floating baby Jarrod is not disappearing. I guess I just got to do that. So yes, I've got these, the black. Yeah, there's the black one, black and white, blackout, navy and white, brown and khaki. I know somebody.
What are we looking at?
One.
What is that
Orange
thing?
And khaki.
Ooh, I haven't seen all of these.
These are the.
I must collect them all.
Like Pokemon. No, so I'm wearing the blackout trucker because you've got the blackout snapback. I decided I'd get the blackout trucker. Jen actually has a whiteout version.
Ooh.
So I don't even know if I think I've got the whiteout here. Yeah. So it's kind of like Yay, only in trucker style. I haven't added it to the mix yet. And then the other thing that I did that is not on here because I was testing this out was this. I had a premium hoodie that I had bought, and I think there was only a couple of them that was sold. It was screen printed here, and it lasted about 6 months, and then the screen print faded off. And that's kind of why it was like, all right, well, I'm killing that off the... because apparently screen print on the hoodie just didn't work as well. So this one is actually embroidered. So we'll see how well that works.
Same place that's doing your hoodies and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, just embroidery.
Yep.
I've noticed that for anybody buying, if you're going with the flat bill, just because I have battle tested these things, after 6 to 8 months of straight wear, they will start to go.
Yes.
Up like that.
They do start to flip just a hair, so you have to kind of pull it back down.
It's a constant, like, stop it.
But to break it into curve does not work real well.
No.
I tried for a little while, and it was like, I'm going to just crack the bill.
Out of practice.
Like, yeah.
You remember the old days when we used to, like, form them up? Everybody had their own thing. They're like, put it in a cup, spray it down with starch, and put it in a cup. Or
baseball.
What you got to do is rubber bands around them. No, baseballs.
Yeah, baseball inside here, and then rubber bands around it to hold it. That's how I did it.
There you go.
Micah says hi. Let's see. Now to see if you have self-control, Jarrod. Do you have self-control? You want to try it, Josh. I do want to try it. I've got 50 seconds. Let's see if I can break this.
Are we talking hats?
I'm gonna do it right now.
What are we talking self-control about? What, hats? Purchase power?
Hey. It didn't do anything. No, you said you got to collect them all.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have any money, John. So, and there you go. Limiting factor.
Okay, yeah. So David said to try it, and John said, you want to try it. I was trying to break this because I was thinking, what was that AI thing that I had told you about with the podcasting, the auto podcast thingamajigger?
Oh, where it like truncates it all and does your cuts for you?
Yes.
Goodness, what was the name of that thing?
I don't remember. Ooh, I should probably see. Are we
You're
actually
not gonna
live
make it.
everywhere?
You're not gonna make it. No!
Welcome to the Vlogpasters Podcast. a podcast all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. Now, here are two pastors that love to put a camera in their face and walk around in public. They are the Fraser and Niles of digital ministry, Jarrod Brown and Joshua Verwers.
That's right. You can stare at my back, and I am Joshua Verwers.
What in the world are we doing? And I'm Jarrod Brown, and this is Vlog Pastors, I think. At least one of us.
That is called me messing. I went through and reset. I've got to get something that'll be better, that will work better for some of this video switching. I love the cam links because they do a great video. I love how it looks. However, cam links with Mac has an issue, and if you plug in more than one, they don't keep their identification, and you can't customize them or name them. So it says Camlink 1 and, well, Camlink and Camlink 1. And then when you restart it, it might be in the same position. It might not be in the same position. So every single time we get ready to do this, I have to go through and make sure everything is in order. And apparently I missed one. We'll see if I missed any others.
I wonder if Zed will fix that. If your new little buddy Zed will take care of that issue.
Zed will eliminate cam links.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if it will hold it down. So you're probably going to have multiples over the years.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Zed will completely eliminate it. And even with the old Zed, you know, the one that was back over there, that Zed will actually do it. Hi, Zed. That one will actually do it to USB. Actually, it's micro USB. It's not USB-C. So, but it'll still do micro USB, which works. And I've done it, and it looks pretty good. It's still not as good as a cam link, but there's also some other tech that's out there that could possibly do some things, and we'll see. But anywho, whatever that was.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
A little bit of gas and stuff and things.
Stuff and things. That one that I was telling you about, I don't even know where it's at. I post so much anymore on Twitter that I don't even remember what I've posted and where I've posted it. And Autopod, there it is. I had to scroll down a little ways. But Autopod is, here's the one that we were talking about. Autopod.
Yep.
And it will automatically edit for your podcast and shows. So what I was going to do with Autopod was, for this one in particular, wow, that's bright. I was going to record, because I record yours with this. Ecamm records whatever you want now. It'll do the videos separately. It'll do them combined. It does the audio separately or combined, or all of the above. So I record the combined audio, the combined video, and then I do isolated tracks of everything, and I do isolated video for you as well. So I've got your full screen that always does it. But when I first started recording mine, the first couple times, Ecamm's recording of my video is ginormous. So after about an hour of recording, all of a sudden the Mac says, you've ran out of space. So I figured this time I will try to press record on the camera and see if that works. And then we'll try it and we'll see how it goes. Because I like testing out AI, and we were talking about how AI is it AI fail or AI all hail? What
a fail, 1,000% fail.
Oh, the reference what you did, what you typed into it.
Yeah, the guy that I was talking about. Well, yeah. I mean,
Matt Walsh.
Yeah. No, not Matt Walsh. I'm sorry. I gotta find his name again. Oh, you guys have already filled up the chat. It was.
Wait,
where's
what
this
reference?
guy's name?
Where am I looking at?
Jeffrey Hinton.
Oh, wait, hold on.
He's the guy. He's one of the lead developers over at Google who left the program and said, "Shut it down."
Yeah,
like it's his baby and it's outpacing things. So it's like, my whole deal with AI is not that AI in itself is going to turn Terminator or anything like that. It's just that rotten or just bad third parties are going to hop involved and try and point this thing. And if it's so advanced, if it's like a weapon, then you don't want it falling into the wrong hands or doing like what I showed you this morning when I asked it a simple factual question and it could not answer me the question.
Correct.
That bothers me.
Yes.
Because what else is it skewing?
AI
what else does it not want me to know?
Should I go ahead and show them what you did?
Mm,
Should I show them what you did?
I don't care.
We'll do it right now.
I don't
Hold on.
care anymore. Let's just do this.
Here is what. Let me see
Not
if I
trying
can
to
go
be
back.
political. I just am asking a
I'll be
statement of
political
fact.
just because it's biblical. I don't know if you guys can see this. We're going to ask.
I'm not making. I wasn't making a
what
point with it.
Is a woman, and then when you ask AI this, it tries to give you a very political, non-scientific answer. A woman is an adult human being who identifies as a female or is biologically female with the reproductive organs typically associated with the female sex. However, it's important to note that gender identity and biological sex are two different things, and not all people who identify as women may have the biological characteristics traditionally associated with female sex. Women play various roles in society and have diverse experiences, abilities, and identities. It is important to respect and celebrate this diversity and to work towards achieving gender equality and empowering women. And I would like to reference you guys back to the movie Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
I feel like that's a pretty basic, quick answer. And to do all that workaround right there, like what else? What else are they programming it with? What else are they trying to teach it? What else? Other hurdles and gymnastics? Because I guarantee that Christianity would never be tampered with. No one would ever want to diminish the message. I can't get my sound equipment and video equipment to work on a given Sunday. Are you telling me that artificial intelligence, the computer's going to be untainted by principalities and spirits of the air that are not going to jack with that? Are you kidding me? No, thank you.
But as I told my church this past Sunday, I am a tool. And so even I can be used, abused, misused, and get things wrong. A tool is only as effective as the one who is using it. And so AI is a tool. Cameras are a tool. I am a tool.
It's like a bent hammer, though.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to really learn how to work with some of the adjustments in it. It's like
it is, yeah. It's definitely got a big bend to it. It can be used. I don't know if it's necessarily the best tool, but to give a good analogy of this, I want a tool and I want it right now. I have something that I need to do. Somebody go get me this tool. And if they are not back within 3 seconds, I am using whatever is nearest to me. If I need if I need a screwdriver, I've already reached in my pocket and I've grabbed my keys and I am using them as a screwdriver until you get back with the real one. And by the time you get back with the real one, I've probably got it taken care of. So sometimes to go the best route is the slowest route. And so for me personally, it's a case of balancing what is efficient. Is it, and I had put this in the chat that to me it's like cameras. I mean, Sony. I'm with Sony for one main reason, and there's a main reason that I want Zed, and I want Zed desperately. For those that don't know, it's the Sony ZVE
ships on the 4th
one that drops. May the 4th be with you. So I want that because from everything that it looks like, it will actually save me more time. And if it can save me time, then it is worth it to me because, as we all know, there's lots of things that I try to do and want to do. And if I'm not able to get it all done in a timely manner, then I just pout.
What if Zed comes in and you're excited and you're using him and he gives you mixed results? Some of the results are fantastic. It shortens your workflow. You're able to get it done. Some of the results are skewed. Therefore, you now have to slow down your workflow and go back and check everything that Zed does to make sure that he's putting out the highest quality. To me, in reference to AI, that eliminates the whole shooting match. You're like, exactly. I'll just go with Google and I'll manually do it myself. It's a little bit slower, but I can at least
I will say, and this is something that you and I had talked about, one of the videos that I've got kind of in the pipeline, ideally, or an ideation. It hasn't been recorded. I haven't sat down. I haven't even kind of thought out the full script and how it goes, but it's looking at AI a little bit deeper, especially in my use case scenario, but then in like some general senses as well. What is it? How accurate is it? Can you use it? If you are going to use it, what are the potential downfalls of it? Should you use it? Try to work through some of that, realizing that it's my thoughts once I've pressed record, and it'll probably change 48 hours later. But one of the things that I have been playing around with is I've been going back and forth between ChatGTP or GPT. Is it GTP or GPT? I don't know.
GPT.
It's the chat. I've been going back through from Chat, Bing, and Bard. And Bing is by Microsoft. Bard is from Google. Bard is doing a great job of at least reminding me every single time I go into it that it's just an experiment. It's like, yeah. And they're like, we're going to get things wrong, just so you know. Yeah, they're getting a lot wrong. And I've been shocked at how well Bing is performing. So it's interesting. I do like one thing with Bing is that it actually gives references and a hyperlink, kind of like if you're reading a book and it's got the footnotes at the bottom with the cross reference. It's doing that, and it's hyperlinking to its source.
Because you use it most of the time for search. That's what you're using it for.
Yeah. I'm using AI for like really all search. Even though I say I'm doing it for like sermon writing, it's more search than anything else. Because
I can see it for
I'm
that
just
purpose.
like, hey,
like Bing,
look out in there in the world and give me, like one of them is a simple one that I do is like, hey, if I've got a certain point that I'm trying to make based on this scripture, give me 10 supporting scriptures that reinforce this point and make sure that it's from Old Testament and New Testament. And then I'll give it that kind of a, what do they call that? The prompt. And then it does it well, but all of them will spit that out. However, it was one, and I didn't record it, and I wish I would have. They actually got the scripture completely wrong. Like the reference and the actual scripture, nowhere even close. Not even in the same book. It was like, okay, that's really bad. Which then, if there's a pastor doing some sermon prep and they're not double checking their work, that could be very embarrassing.
I'm sure it was a one-off.
The internet trolls will definitely be out to attack you and call you out
about your
I kind of wonder
things.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how many other things I could start to do and show people that could be construed as idolatry.
Okay,
just for sake.
I was getting ready to get into this before our intro rolled, but like. Yeah. You almost unearthed an entirely new desire for me to be on the old YouTubes. For people like that. No, I'm starting to see. So in the early days, you and I, we were on this thing because no one else was in this space. Nobody else was doing digital ministry. And so we're like carving this thing out. If they were, we didn't know about one another as much. We're just like, we're staking our claim out here. Somebody needs to be here. Yeah. Now it's like, we can't move from this place. I thought the next generation will come up, they'll take it, run with it type of a thing. We have to hold down fort for these guys as they're getting into place because they're all sorts of crazy pants, Christian crazy pants who come in here and talk like your Funko Pop thing. You got idolatry on the walls. Are you kidding me? What are you teaching? Thank you.
It definitely is. I mean, you guys have all seen it in my vlogs where I go back there and I kneel before them and I start bowing and I'm raising my hands and praising them and worshiping them.
This religious nuttery.
The closest that I have come to it out of any of those might be right there.
That's copywritten, trademark.
That one's John Wick. That might be the closest that I've got. And then the funniest part about it is like the comment was about all of these real people. I'm like, the only real people that I've really got here, I have Stan Lee up there, and I've got Javier Baez over there, and I think Adam Thielen right above my head right now. Everybody else is a character. It's just like...
That was crazy.
But I mean, to be fair, anything
response.
can be idolatry.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, man.
I started to type one out and I was like, wait a second. You said this was a quick question. That wasn't a quick question. It's like, I'm not going to reply to you.
My buddy Jason is quick-witted like you are. And so I was sharing it with him and he's like, oh, a timely response, man. There's nothing like it, you know? And seriously though.
Yeah. And what's also fun is when people are expecting a reaction out of you and then you don't give it to them. If they've already come in with any amount of anger, frustration, or disdain, and then you do not respond to them, do they boil. So it was like, no, I'm not messing with that stuff. Did you see that
That's hilarious.
Luke in the house? Kirk's on
Hello.
a mission saying, hey guys, hey, how you doing? We have no idea what we're doing today. We didn't talk about anything. We have no clue.
I just assumed you were going to throw me into it. So I was like, it's a Wednesday. Let's do this.
So yeah, if you guys have an idea, yeah, John's calling it out. The vintage vlogpasters, nothing goes as planned, and we have no idea what we're talking about. If you guys have a topic, a subject, something you would like us to discuss, feel free. If not, we're just going to talk about things and stuff like per usual. Afternoon, Luke. Did you ask it what is a woman? That's yeah.
Absolutely, I did. First question.
It was hilarious.
It's the truth test. Come on, truth sayer. What
David
say you?
asking, is someone programming it or is it self-learning? I know it hasn't reached singularity yet. It's not self-learning. It only has access to what people are putting out there. So whatever you put out there is the source information that it's going to get. And I don't remember who it was I was listening to describe it. It might have been MKBHD. And he was kind of describing it almost in like a voting type of a system where every word that you're putting into it, it kind of gives it a ranking. And so it's like, okay, this word next to this word appears more often in these sources than in these. So I'm going to reference these here because there's a higher likelihood of this is what you meant because this phrase, this terminology is found here. And then it compiles it based on that. So a lot of it is specific. I will say the fact that, you and I both used what is a woman when it did say that not everybody believes this. That's probably in reference to Matt Walsh because of, the documentary and how much he's just put that out there. So yeah, it's interesting, but it's going to be culturally and societal based because it's created by humans. So like anything that is got a human element in it, there is much room for error just because we touched it and none of us are perfect.
Sure. And you're also talking about the public consumption part of AI. So from what I understand, and I'm about to get dangerous here because I understand very, 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 very little of AI. I just know enough not to trust it type of thing. Because I've asked it a basic question from the get and it won't answer it.
But you could ask somebody down the street, okay, not in Texas, but you could ask somebody down the street, maybe in Dallas, and they wouldn't be able to answer it either.
Politically, they would dodge the question. It's pretty
What
basic.
do you think it's doing?
Maybe
it's doing
we
the
live as
same thing that the
Neanderthals
people that
down here in the South. But like we all know what a man and a woman is. It gets weird in a certain demographic, but other than that, we all kind of know, and the rest of it's like, sure.
You would think, but society, culturally, humanity, we're getting everything wrong, especially in good old America.
No, you're good.
We can't answer anything.
But AI. So AI, from what I understand, is there's two sections of it. There's the section that's released to the public. It is programmed. It takes the data that's out there and piles it. It sorts through it like what Josh was talking about. The one that's behind the wall that is learning and growing is the one that is not released, is not allowed access to the public. It is not supposed to be online, those types of things. Those are where you start talking about facilities where it is learning by itself, and they'll feed it new nuggets of information and try to interact with it and see if it is developing. So that's the part that I think scared off the what's his name, Heinrich or Jeffrey, what's his face?
Yeah,
the Google guy,
Hinton.
because it's learning and they're not talking about the stuff that we interact with, the Bing, the Bing app and the Chat GPT, those things are just researchers. Those things just get out there and collect data. But they're talking about the ones that are learning, and they're learning too fast. So
yeah, and I mean, it is it self-learning? Kind of. I mean, I guess it depends on how we call self-learning.
My brother's a programmer, and he's not on board with all this stuff. He says it's all programming. It's operating inside of its boundaries, but he's willing to be open to the idea of it being self-learning. We'll see.
It's a chat bot is all this stuff is. It's just a chat bot on
the public side.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that's behind the scenes, that's where it's interesting. Ooh, behind the scenes stuff. I don't know.
Ooh.
For some reason, I just thought of I was listening to, was it the Morning Wire podcast the other day?
I thought you were going to drop something and say, speaking of behind the scenes, I've got some content for you.
I don't have any scenes. But we were talking about the video that dropped, and you were busy this morning. You didn't even realize I dropped another vlog this morning.
Did you really?
So,
dude,
yeah,
it's
scheduled to drop at 10 because I thought if we were going at 10:30, that everybody would get a notification from me, and then they'd be like, oh, wait, it's Wednesday at 10:30. At least those that have notifications turned on. So, which it doesn't always notify everything.
Ooh.
But anywho, so there was a new one that had released and had been dropped. So
I missed that one. That one totally got by me. And I'm set up for everything.
Yep. Oh, Daily Wire. They were talking about UFOs and how there is being more information that has been and will be released. And there is a big push to release everything going back to 1942 based on UFOs, which Pentagon has said, yes, there are lots of things that are unidentified aircrafts or whatever UATs or UAPs or Cs or I don't know. They've got something else. They don't want to call it a UFO because they don't want it to think like it's a flying saucer. But there's something that's in the air that we have been tracking for years and we're not sure what it is. And it's a lot more than we thought it was. So we haven't figured it out yet. At least that's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
Which means there's a lot they're not telling us. UAVs, yeah. So that's kind of interesting to me because now
you get to release
we're not all crazy.
Alien video. My friend's going to be so stoked about that. I have an Air Force buddy from way back, and he was always had his tinfoil hat on, and he's like, listen, guys. He's going to be so stoked about this. That's all he needs, more info.
Okay, I'm missing a bunch of comments here because I'm not scrolling down. Let's see, where are we at? I'm about to change both soundboard and the computer at the same time. I'm going to see how much pain I am willing to endure with that kind of change. Ew.
You're crazy. You are absolutely crazy, John Hayes. But if anybody can pull it off, you and Joshua, that's it.
I actually thought about doing that down at the church.
No.
But if I do it at the church, because we don't use the sound internally very much other than just to pump it into the other rooms. What I'll likely do is when the Rodecaster Duo comes out, I will be picking that up, and then I'll probably take my Rodecaster Pro and send that over to the church, and then swap out our big board for that board. Because it will... Fewer buttons, super simple, hard to mess up. And because it works as an audio interface, it'll help me to send it out into other rooms and work a little bit smoother, I think. We'll figure it out. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I have no idea.
To be able to show up and have it all set up and go, remember where it was? The same buttons perform the same functions because all the cords are plugged in to the same slots and no one has touched it this week.
Yep.
Tell me of this dream.
You know what you need to do. Here's what y'all need to do.
You know what you are to do. That's what we say down here. You know what you are to do.
You know what you are to do? You are to do what I used to do when I was a DJ, and you have a rolling case that has everything already hooked up, and all you have to do, so all the cables are like in the back of it, rolled up, and then it's got a label on it, and it's color-coded, and so on the back of it, you had like a piece of duct tape that was like purple, and then on the back of your speaker, it was purple, so you knew this one goes to that one. All you had to do was just pull the cables out, and then hook them up and put power into it. Everything internally was already set up, and we also had tape on it for people that weren't, good at doing it. And it said, "Do not touch."
That's our problem. We have sound people who are fussy about that sort of thing, so they will not let you touch it. They have all what you're talking about, except for being plugged in the back. They've got their cords in a special box, and they have color coordinated and labeled, and you do not touch those things.
Yeah.
But still, getting set up, it's like somebody new came by, and we had to teach them. You know the drill.
Yep.
Don't do it, John.
John's talking about.
Don't do it.
I have me as a Funko Pop down there. I do.
Do you really? Show
I
it.
do.
Show to me. I don't remember this one.
Oh man. It's
show to
pretty
me.
close
Come on.
to. All right. I'll put the thing down.
Let's see this thing.
Over here and
Dude loves his Funko Pops.
come
I
back
give him
this
that.
way and wrap the helmet.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Oh, that's right. John made it. Oh, I forgot about this.
So he just needs painted. We'll do that one of these days.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep. So I have him. So yes, he's in the Funko Pops. Unless I am a character.
And in that case, I'll never tell.
I've been called worse.
You do love the wrestling background, so you would like never drop character. That'd be awesome. Like I've known somebody who's not Joshua Verwers this entire time. He's just the online persona.
I mean,
possibly.
there was a day in time when I wrestled in a mask, and I would, as I was pulling into a town, I would pull over on like a gravel road to put on my mask and then drive in. Just because.
Committed.
Yeah.
How many?
And then I realized,
did you have?
Huh?
How many characters did you have? I know you had a few. You had like the preppy boy.
Well, I mean, that was the same guy, but it was he had multiple iterations of it. If we call them multiple iterations, then there was only 4 maybe. Not too bad. And I filled in on another one occasionally. Somebody else that was in a mask, and they'd be like, "Here, throw this on." Because I think there was one.
No.
Yeah.
Tell me like they're like a short Hispanic dude, and you're like a.
No, like same height and build and everything. It wasn't a problem. Although it was funny because there was one time that character we called Thrillcat, same height and build. It was like our trainer. He was in Thrillcat, and then when he would have to be in a ring for like a battle royal, but Thrillcat needed to be in there too, then one of us would just throw on the outfit, and it was just coveralls and tennis shoes and a mask, and you're completely covered. So then we'd run out and do that. But there was one time that we had nobody his height and build. So we had one of our friends, John, who's like 5'8" and like 240 pounds of like stocky and thick. And everything was like swimming on it, except for in the chest. And he was like ripping out on it. It was hilarious. And then we had another guy that was a little bit taller than us. So the full length coveralls were too tight. And so it was like a permanent wedgie on him. It was hilarious. Good stuff. Go Pack Go. Oop. My idols. Yeah. Unfortunately, Dustin is a cheesehead. Grew up with the Lions, sort of. Only sport I follow is hockey. I used to watch a lot of hockey, but I don't. CERN. Now I'm thrown off.
What is
CERN?
It? What is CERN?
CERN. I'm going to have to Google it. This is dangerous.
Care enough right now.
CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Apparently, that's CERN. That could be dangerous if that has anything to do with AI and what we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it doesn't.
I'm worried.
On an unrelated note.
Unrelated note, Living in the Gap watched my vlog already. Jared's behind the ball.
Wow.
Shame on you,
I didn't
Jared.
even get notified.
It's not like you were busy this morning or anything that,
I had nothing going on. As a matter of fact, nope. I have nothing going on right now. I thought I heard somebody overhead.
That's funny. Don't break your internet pulling it up, Jared. I don't know what it was. And yes, Josh got the same one on the UFOs.
A good call.
He says, I got to finish building the sound booth first. Currently trying to fish wires through
What are
a
you
wall
doing?
without damaging a bunch of drywall.
John,
I
you're
hate
like
fishing wire.
reworking everything. Did y'all get a new budget or like what are y'all doing?
Mm.
You were talking about
You
updating
can't
the
be
soundboard.
complacent.
No, I got you, but like he updated the soundboard, or at least was looking into that, and he's updating the computer. You guys went ham here.
Yeah, John's right. The whole rolling unit works until you add something in a pinch and change it up entirely. So I had that actually last week. Went to church. We haven't had a lot of kids, little kids, in the church for a while. And now I don't know, we had like 8 of them on Sunday. So we've had occasional 1 or 2 here and there. And when it's 1 or 2 here and there, just out in the sanctuary with everybody else, we're not going to do a separate class for them. When it's a bunch like that, it's like, okay, now we're going to have a separate class for them. So those teachers that go in there typically, especially when they're younger, like early elementary, preschool age, we put on the sermon through the TVs in the other rooms so they can kind of hear it in the background, be able to listen to it, especially if the kids are doing some type of an activity. However, we haven't had to do that for quite some time, and so the audio was not good. And I think the last time we did it, I was actually using our lapel or lavalier mic or maybe headset mic through our sound system, which I don't do anymore. I've got my Rode Wireless Go's, so I was like, oh, I should be able just to do like a Y adapter, or even on my camera, I've got a headphone out, so I could take the headphone out and put that as an in into the next camera and be able to run it that way. No, that didn't work. And after about, 2 minutes of trying to get a couple different cables, I was like, nope, not happening this Sunday. You'll have to wait. It was just like,
do you still run, like, do you clip the whole unit or do you lav yourself up every week?
oh, I lav myself up every week with toupee tape underneath.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
And then of course you pull it off, and then here comes some hair, and then you have to take that little piece of toupee tape and roll it up with the hair sticking out of it and hand it to one of your children and watch them go.
Worth it.
It's the little things that bring me joy.
Yeah, never mind. I got it.
The one thing I did do a couple weeks back, I just wore my hoodie, and it was like I've got a t-shirt tucked under the hoodie because sometimes the hoodies will right up, and it's like we're not going to have this right up. So then I took the toupee tape and I stuck it to my t-shirt. Mm-hmm. That's a pain to get off. It works, but it's a pain.
That's how I do it every time. I stick it to t-shirts a little bit higher. When I'm miking up talent, I will roll this back probably about here. Well, obviously if it's a collared shirt, button-up shirt, it's going to go on the outside. I'll just clip it right here. But if I'm going t-shirt, I'll go. Where am I? Get out of here. I'll go right here somewhere.
Okay. So like top of the.
Yeah, I know you're hitting for inside, to kind of hit that cavity.
I just go nipples. Like
Two
not
mics on either side. Bam, bam. Remember, Grandma's watching this, so
that's all right.
Behave yourself.
Hey, this is not made for kids. I made sure to put that in the description, and today we have said penis, vagina, and nipples twice.
Oh my goodness!
But I just go here and then. Whoop,
yeah, I got you right there. Mm-hmm.
So that's where I aim. But anyways. So it was on the shirt, but yeah, it was a little difficult to get off. Maybe it's just
had that problem.
Are you using actual toupee tape?
No. I'm using that Rycoat, the Rycoat stickies with the double sides.
So that would probably work better. When I was doing it on my skin underneath the shirt, that's where I put the toupee tape because I figured, it's good for skin. But on the shirt, it's not. I may have to try that. I've got some more of the Rycoat, I think, setting in here somewhere. So
I've got to reorder, actually. Reorder.
Let's see. He says, dude, already have the soundboard waiting on the computer now. A major donation came in. Fixing stuff, moving stuff, upgrading, and I will send pics later. Sound booth has been talked about for a bit. Just didn't have the... motivation or time commitment for it. Yep.
It's a thing. It takes like a full week to 2 weeks to get everything sorted. At least it did for us. It's like, what does that do? I don't know. I better research it. Okay. Should take the toupee
Ew.
tape with
John,
the hair
what is wrong with you?
and put it on the end of a set of earplugs. Oh, in-ear monitors. Yes. How about that?
Jarrod, what do you want to talk
for the
about?
for the worship team. I don't care. I'm living the dream right now.
Anything new in your neck of the woods? Did you go watch
Anything-
Nefarious yet?
No, I have
Shame
not
on
seen
you.
Nefarious. However, more people are saying, "Hey, this is interesting. You should take a look at it." Or maybe we should take a look at it. Also, not playing in my area unless you want to drive to Dallas.
You do.
You do want to drive to Dallas? No. I don't like you. Nobody
What,
wants to drive
hour?
to Dallas. No. Dallas is like Houston. I don't know
How
what y'all
far
have
is
up
it from
there
you?
that's equivalent. Maybe St. Louis. Do not do it.
How far is it from you?
2.5 hours. Probably 3 hours. But here's the thing. Once you get into traffic,
Well, yeah.
it's between 2 and 5 to 6 hours somewhere.
Yeah,
That's
the worst traffic that I think I've went through, it's a toss-up between Dallas and Atlanta at rush hour.
Yeah.
Those are rough.
You can, as every metroplex, you have the places that you can get into and get out of pretty quickly. Dallas is across one of our bigger cities, Fort Worth, and you gotta really want it. Fort Worth, I don't mind, in and out, but you got to go over to Dallas that way, heading east. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Chicago is 5 or 6 for Josh. Yep.
Yeah, 5 or 6 hours. No, and Dallas is probably like Chicago. No, it would be, to me, it would be, 2.5 hours, it would be Kansas City.
It's playing. Nefarious is playing on Amazon and Hulu and places like that. So you're going to spend more. It's like $20-something bucks. I was looking into it.
It
It's like,
is?
where can you watch? Yeah, where can you watch it? So I'm probably just going to invest in that and just catch it on whatever that is, Amazon, the Hulus.
I am looking.
Triple check me on that, but yeah.
I looked for it the other day. I didn't see it yet. But whenever it comes out, like I mentioned last week, whenever it comes out, I'm buying it. Just because it's good. I want to see it, and I keep wanting to see it, and I want to get convicted by it.
No, I still don't get it, but once
No,
I watch
it's-
the movie, maybe I will.
You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll
Nefarious,
appreciate it. If you
Hulu,
don't,
Amazon, all streaming services.
really, is it the same Nefarious?
I did not check that.
Okay, it's possible. I don't know.
2023.
All right. Well, sweet. I had
Yep.
no clue.
No, I have not. I have not seen that. What's been going on in my neck of the woods? I think we mentioned it last week. Did it happen last week? The hail damage thing.
I think so. I don't think we mentioned it last week, though.
It might have been later on in the week.
I think it was later in the week because I saw it. I think that might have been Thursday, Friday, something like that. That's when I saw from your Instagram stories.
Right. So Jessie, my wife Jessie, for anybody who doesn't know, she was posting on Instagram some of the reels or whatever, not reels, just videos, short videos of some of the damage and the hail and that sort of thing. So I appreciate all you guys. People still buy movies. Hey, yes, Fawn, from our local Blockbuster. Yeah, people still do that, but we were doing that. Thank you for checking in on us. Meant the world just to have people saying, "Hey, you guys okay?" But we lost. Let's see, lost the roof basically. So the roof's been. As soon as it got done hailing, the rain continued, torrential rain, and it started in my kitchen. And it proceeded to my bathroom. So I don't mean outside. Torrential rain on the inside of my house. That's why when the roofing company came out today, they're I think they're here, but they've been all over the roof and they're trying to tarp off and do like an emergency patch before the weekend because Lord willing, we get some more rain for my animals because after that hail, it stripped all the plants. So we need more rain to start over again.
Yeah, that one little garden area that you had that Jesse showed.
Yeah.
It was just,
There's nothing, man. It stripped the trees. It's weird, like little twigs out there. It was a good hailstorm. The neighbor that's probably 200 yards, 300 yards away from us, they made the local news. They made the Dallas-Fort Worth local news. And the reason was because they have a bull walking across the pasture, and it is being just lit up. and basically people went nuts going, "What, poor bull?" We're like, yeah, they don't get undercover on command. They're kind of dumb animals. Mine stayed out there. My cow stayed out there just going, this sucks. Standing 10 feet from a tree, and the shed was maybe 50 yards back the other way. It's like, go get under the shed.
Right.
They just stood out there. But cow survived. That's what that's why it went viral. Cow survived. Cow's fine. The bull is fine. My cows are fine. No animal losses except for a cat. We lost a kitty.
Oh.
Thanos. He was snapped out of existence.
Not good.
That's
Not
it,
good.
man. Just work
our
at insurance.
hailstorm that we had a few weeks back, it made the news too. But it made the news because I contacted the news station and shared a bunch of pictures that I had taken of busted out windows. And that was just to put the school on blast.
Yeah.
Because when I heard that it was the night before and that administration did not want to tell any of the families that there would be a change in transportation in the morning. Why they would not want to do that, I have no idea. But as soon as I heard that they didn't want to do that, I immediately hopped on Twitter and I found a KCCI news reporter and I was like, hey, check out the hail damage here. And then I tagged him with the post that I had done. And it was about, an hour and a half later that the news reporters come pulling in the bus barn parking lot and looking for an interview. So superintendent had to run home and put on some different clothes and try to get camera ready. They didn't take video. They didn't actually capture the video of him setting out there in the parking lot sweeping that he was hoping that they would capture. But anyhow,
people are so interesting. I'm surprised at the decisions that people make. Like you just think that most everybody kind of functions the same way, has the same set of morals, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Vaughn was saying people still buy movies. I buy occasional movies. I will only buy movies
very rare
in digital form. I don't know the last one that I bought in physical form, although it would have to be a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But I don't know the last one that I actually bought.
Used to be a sucker for the Walmart bargain bin, the $5 Walmart bargain bin. Oh yeah, I'd go diving into that bad boy. Especially it was
recently, what was it? I don't know. I think it was Mom that she had. I think it might have been like the internet at her house or something went out. And so she asked if we had any DVDs. And it was like, yeah, somewhere. So we had to go crawl in a storage room and pull out a big tote of them. And it's like, all right, look through, take your pick. We got a bunch of them. We don't use them anymore. But the last movie that I actually bought, I believe, was the John Wick trilogy. So I had bought those.
Rightly so.
Yeah. Because it was like...
Are you going to re-up it for the fourth?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get that, too. Yeah, just in case. Because it was one of those at the time. Well, it's the digital version. So Vudu or...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Either that or Google Play, or I don't remember where I bought it from, but it's one of those digital video wallet things that I was like, all right. So I've got that one. That's what I will do with Nefarious, because I'm sure it'll come out digitally to purchase, and I'll do that. I can't remember any others that I've really bought.
I'm going to check it, man. I'm going to check it right now.
Yeah, so we do still buy them. John saying, I just found a box of VHS tapes in our old sound booth last week. Vaughn saying, have you got anything to play them on? So funny thing is, that's how a old TV VCR combo is how we actually pump our video and audio to the other rooms in our church. So I have like a HDMI that goes into, I believe, a DVD player that has RCA out that goes RCA in to the TV VCR combo. And then I take coax out and run it through, just because I didn't want to do anything else. Although what I ought to do is just run like HDMI over Ethernet, or that would probably be a whole lot easier. But I just don't want to, even though it would be fairly simple for me to do. I just don't want to. So I'm not going to.
You almost talked yourself into it. It would be so... No.
Yep, not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it.
And Dustin says, Goodwill still has VCR players for like $5. Ooh, I could probably make $5 and get rid of some. Yeah, so let's see. Yes, actually, I think we do. I think we do on there. So Yeah, it's interesting to try to find some of that out there. Charles saying they're good to go. They have immigration meeting with the wife's residential visa. They sure do make it slow, difficult, expensive when you do things the right way.
Yeah.
Man, that's the truth. Hey,
Yeah.
bring on May 11th. You're going to
What's happening May 11th?
May 11th, it's the...
Don't do this to me.
Oh, yeah. It's basically whatever that thing is, it's like Title 42 that Trump used to basically say as soon as they come in, we're sending them right back out.
It expires?
It expires on May 11th. And
they're not going to do anything about it, are they?
Nope. Actually, I think Biden put in article, Blue 42 or something. It's another one that he's putting in that basically is going to allow even more access. All they have to do is just threaten that they are fearing for their lives or seeking asylum or they might be kidnapped. And then at that point, the appeal process starts, but we don't actually detain them through the appeal, which you know how that'll wind up turning out. Guys. Yeah, they're thinking thousands a week are going to be coming across starting then. And I heard one report that the estimate was over 8 million they expect within the next 12 months.
Guys, I know we're all thinkers here, part of the Vlog Pastors podcast.
We might be.
I know we're all thinkers here, and we're probably, if I were to guess, I would say we have a large percentage that is conservative. But politics aside, I need to tell you, it's getting a little crowded down here already.
No, it's you guys in Texas. You have had
polite.
You have had so much space for so long. No, I'm picking on you.
I'm just saying we're being polite with these buses. If they want to, I think they should. I think they should open up the floodgates and let everybody else taste what's going on down here. It's tight. It's tight.
Bus them all to Washington.
I've been to this before, but I have neighbors. There are 4 to 10 houses, depending on the property that I'm talking about. And they've gone from 4 families to I don't even know how many people live over there. I know between 50 and 60 go for a walk at night. That's my next door neighbors. Normally, that is a house of 1.
Yeah, and I get it. I get why they want to be here. This is the United States of America. It's awesome.
I get it too, man. That's why you need borders, though, so you can you can vet people. You can say, "Oh no, sorry, hey, we're at our limit. We understand. There's proper ways to do this, so we're only gonna." I don't get it, man. Whatever. I don't know. There's not an answer, but I'm just saying we're filling up. I think we should dump them in Iowa next. What do you think?
California. There's a mass exodus out of California. Let's put them all back in California.
That's brilliant, actually.
And then if the fault line happens and California breaks off, they've got their own micro country.
I'm just so everybody knows, there's no vetting process. Everybody's coming in.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, and I just saw
nobody's being checked out. Even if you have a what's that called? Something to appear. Notice to appear. Yep. Nobody doing that. And they're getting off buses wherever they want to get off buses. You could just look around and tell you that.
And it's not all coming from Central and South America. There was a video I saw just the other day. It was a U.S. border reporter, and he wound up going over just to see how easy it was to come in. And it was super easy to come in, but he came in with a bunch of people that came over from India.
Well, there's a bunch of Chinese folks coming right now.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to come through, but I don't know.
Come on in.
Come on in, send them over to California, and they will have their own country called the divided state of California.
If anyone, it's not that big of an issue apparently around the country when you go check in your Twitter in the morning. But I'm just saying, for a Texan, giving you guys a heads up, that we're gonna have to deal with it sooner or later. We're dealing with it now. Would appreciate some assistance anytime you're ready to hop in this conversation, because we're going to fund the world here. Everybody come on over to our house, block party.
So this is where I would like to make a brief political statement. The brief political statement is you reap what you sow. And we are reaping what we have sown in selecting our elected officials based on our personal preferences rather than by our biblical principles. And if we would select, as Exodus 18:21 says, such men that are capable, fear God, tell the truth, and hate covetousness, if we would have done that, like a long time ago, or even more recently, if we would just do that, all of a sudden you will get somebody that is making decisions based on principles that are rooted in morality, that is rooted...
What are they? What is that?
What's what? Oh.
Rooted?
Rooted. Yeah.
Rutted.
Rooted. Root.
Rutted. Go ahead,
Root.
continue.
Root.
Rutted.
Root.
Root.
As in like R-O-O-T. Root.
Root. Okay.
Root. No, it's a
rooted. Root. Yes, okay, I'm ready.
No, not rooted.
Rooted. I'm ready.
Root is that thing that you drive on that's like 66.
Route.
No, route is what football players run.
Who's on first? Okay.
So, but if we would have done that, because what you wind up having, and here's the thing, we're seeing it. I don't know. I'm seeing it. Y'all are going to start seeing it before too long. I'm up here in Iowa, so we're already ramping up for the next election cycle. And there are already lots of people that are trying to say, Roe's already been overturned, so it's up to the states. We don't have to do anything. And it's like, this is one of our essential God-given liberties that we are talking about, the most essential. There is no liberty and pursuit of happiness without having the fundamental right to life. And we have to start with that. So why are you trying to pawn it off and say it's up to the states? No, it's actually in the Constitution. It's in the Declaration of Independence. How about you just stand up for it and push it even farther? So that's, to me, now, of course, somebody that bases that morality in God, in the laws of nature and of nature gods. When we do that, all of a sudden it's like, there's a reason why we stand for life. God is for life. He is the author and perfecter of life. He wants us to have that. So we've got to do that. The problem is we just play party politics and they just keep shifting to the left and both parties, and you listen to Tucker Carlson and he winds up saying, newsflash, there's only one party.
Yeah.
Just
Did you see his solution was pretty interesting. I was actually just thinking about that as you were talking. I'm like, what is the solution here? I mean, up until now, it's get more militant and entrenched in your party or your thought system. But like his call was, if we would take 10 minutes and go before the Almighty and humble ourselves and pray, maybe he might answer and fix this situation.
2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will seek my face and humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven. Then I will answer their prayers. Then I will heal their land. Yes, absolutely. Now, and Vaughn has an excellent question on this. Would we have anybody to vote for if we based it on biblical principles?
See, that I didn't want to go there because I know you're sensitive about this, but like, there's only two parties. I said it. I said one. Tucker would say one, and I don't think he's wrong on that. But your options are two. Your third vote is wasted, or you can vote for Kanye West. But those are your options.
I'm laughing because I did it.
Yep.
So, okay, to be fair, would we have anybody to vote for if we based it on biblical principles? In the general election, as it has stood for the last, I don't know how many years, I've lost track. No, in the general election. Not anybody that has a viable chance of winning, which then the people that would use the same passage I do of Exodus 18:21, such men that are capable, well, are they capable of actually winning? No. So I get that argument in the general election. However, in the primaries, there have been dozens on one side of the aisle, and there have been multiple on the other side of the aisle. And I've looked at them and I've seen it. Do I agree with everything on either side? No. It's like, this is all I'm looking for. Are they there in the generals? No. Have they been there in the primary? Yes. Would we have anybody to vote for? Here's the thing. Both of them are driven by money and power. And the only way that you'll ever get them to do what you want is to stop playing their game. And just say, no, I'm not playing with you. Kind of like the trolls that want to leave me a comment and try to pull me down into the mud with them. It's like, no, not going to happen. And when you don't give in to them, will they maintain power for a short time? Sure. And then the other party will wind up getting enough power that then somebody will wind up come running and crawling back and say, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? Well, now you have to represent me? There's a novel concept.
That is, if you can vote them in and vote them out with a reliable election process, which we've already discussed that. So you have no options.
You're going to get us canceled on YouTube. It's a good
Except
thing we're
to
over
cry
on
out
Rumble.
to the Almighty. And unpopular take here. Unpopular take.
No, I'm with you.
Here it is. Here it is. Unpopular take on Trump. Okay, nobody likes the bravado. Nobody likes the arrogance. Nobody likes the morals. I get it. He's not the principled leader that Christians want. But at the same time, dude did an amazing job for a pagan, crazy pants, billionaire playboy of honoring Israel, Abraham Accords. He talked to in his first part of his term. He talked to the evangelical leaders, and he said, listen, you guys are disheveled. Your voices are everywhere. If y'all would get together and with one voice say, this is what God wants for this country, no one would stand against you. He can understand. He saw things and put some things together. Now, where he breaks down is where he breaks down. It's his character. It's the principles they found. I get it. I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to, whatever. I'm not going to support that dude in that kind of a respect. But I think somebody like that, somebody, maybe they aren't a principled Christian, could be hijacked by the Spirit of the living God and put some really amazing things in place.
Oh, absolutely.
Even Stephen, that guy who is in the office right now, could have his, have his mind, his feeble mind, swayed by the Almighty. Because right now he might as well be out there eating grass in the pastures.
Yep. And I've seen people that that's the one thing about Iowa, with us being like first in the nation caucus state, at least on the Republican side of things, we still are. The Democrats didn't like it, so they wanted to forgo that. But we do have more access to these people. And because we're such a small area, we're already cramped. We're already tight. It's easy to visit all 99 counties in Iowa. Chuck Grassley's been doing it for I don't know how many years. Every single year he visits all 99 counties. So it's easy to get out there and to see the people that are actually going to be voting for you or potentially voting for you. With that access, I've had that privilege of putting them through the ringers and asking them the tough questions. And to me, if they don't get the issue of life right, then we're not even talking.
What are we doing?
It's like, that's the big one for me. And one of them that it still isn't quite right, but he's a lot better, was Lindsey Graham. Like when I met him years back, was able to pray for him and praying that, God would open his eyes. Now, do I believe that it was because of my prayer that it happened? No, not necessarily. I think it was one of those little steps that led it to it, but he went from a guy that was definitely pro baby murder. And we're probably going to get canceled for me saying that too, but that's what he was for. But he was definitely in favor of that. And then he's the one that just, introduced the pain capable bill. So banning everything after they're able to feel pain, which would be at 15 weeks.
God.
And I'm like, at least that is a step in the right direction. It's not good enough for me, but because I got to come with God on this. I have to. I can't help it. God is not willing that any should perish. That's where I stand on it. That's always where I will stand on it. He is for life. And for that, it's like, I just can't do it. But to see people that have at least shifted more towards God's position on these things, there is hope that no matter who they are, they can do it. I don't think that either of our last two presidents are what the majority of either party wanted, but it's definitely, both of them are what this nation deserved, because it is, whether hot take, representative of who we are, one side and the other. And that's just like, that's we're going to get it. You reap what you sow. Like, we're the ones that did it. I truly believe that the only solution is, like you said, we just got to get down on our knees and start praying, start seeking his face, turn from our wicked ways. And I don't know how that looks. I don't have all the answers. I just know that our only hope is in the one who does have all the answers.
Hey, I'd be curious if you get any time with old DeSantis to figure out on the faith side. Rumor is that his wife was healed of cancer.
I've heard that. I haven't. Yeah.
Through miraculous means. So I'd be interested to see if that is his testimony, because you don't hear anything about that.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. The only one that I've had so far access to was Tim Scott out of South Carolina. That guy knows his word. I was rather impressed. I mean, granted, it's a bunch of faith leaders, so you already know who your audience is, so it's easy to say the right things. Right. However, most pastors are pretty good at sniffing through the difference between the sheep and wolves. So it's like,
well, 1 Corinthians chapter 2. No.
But no, it was just kind of interesting. But yeah, if I get a chance, that'll be one that, Anyhow, Vaughn says we should have an age cutoff.
Vaughn,
for so many things.
Speaking truth today.
So many things. So many things.
The thing is, I don't mind if he's 80, 90 years, well, probably not 90, come on, because we need some sort of reality here. If he's 80 years old and the dude is like clicking, but if they're obviously not clicking, we need to have some sort of mental acuity test, basic.
Yes, we need a competency quiz.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it has
and not
to
like
do.
a basic one, like you're the leader of the free world. You need to be above average. Are you still
I would be okay
average?
with a basic one. Like, at this point, I'd be okay with a basic one. Sometimes I wonder if we had a basic competency quiz, if we would have had the last, I don't know, like 5 or 6 presidents that got elected.
Well, it needs to be like public, that everyone, like people have taken, that kind of like an agreed upon thing, because I think this doctor's oh, he's fine. Oh, sure, he's fine.
Right. Well, and hey, maybe we should put him through like the citizenship quiz.
Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious. Actually, I don't know that very many people would pass that.
John,
true or false?
Here's the quiz. True or false? You are the president of the United States.
That one would be harder for him than you would ever know. That's hilarious.
That's funny. No, I don't. Most people wouldn't be able to pass the competency quiz. But then again, hey, we're going to bring it full circle. I don't think that most people out there can. Well, maybe not most. I don't think most in politics would be able to define a woman. So,
ooh. Man, I really feel bad for the Democratic Party. I feel like they started off with so many great ideals. Now, maybe not started off, but for the last 20 or so years, they had so many great ideals.
Yep.
They just drove off a cliff for people like me. I cannot be associated with you. I cannot vote for you.
Yeah.
Just because, like, the life issue. I mean, this, what is a woman thing? And the way that they're voting about kids and parents' rights inside of the school system, it's like, guys,
ridiculous.
You're making such a breach between us that there's no common ground.
Yeah.
There's no common ground. I don't know.
And the crazy thing is, like, man, I wish I had the actual desire to be more of a political commentator, because there are things like I would be a prophet just by relaying the questions and the conversations that Iowa has here in the political system. The rest of y'all wind up having to face this anywhere from 4 to 8 years later. Like, I basically ran out of our local Republican Party because I had proposed an amendment to our GOP that affirmed a parent's right to educate, upbring, and discipline their children. It just confirmed that this was a fundamental right, and that's all we were doing, was just to affirm it. And that resulted in me at a fundraiser with, I think it was actually Rick Perry there, being called out by a doctor in the community as a child abuser because I had proposed that. And it's like, and now look where we are as a nation. No, they don't want parents can't know anything about their children. The children run the roost. They're the ones that lead the show. And it's just like, what Twilight Zone did we step into?
The tail is wagging the dog. Yeah.
I'm like, this is just insane. Insanity that's out there. You didn't know this is where the podcast was going today, did you?
I think it's secretly where people like John wanted to go anyway.
It probably is.
It's like, see if we can get him kicked off today.
Yeah. There was some Democrat the other day that said they finally got to the point that they said they can't stand with their party on certain issues.
Oh, yeah. Tulsi Gabbard was one.
Yep.
Who else?
So many votes are straight party lines, and it's obvious what's going on. And this isn't a party thing. I mean, go back to the Republicans. They like to tote and promote Ronald Reagan. And Reagan was famous for saying that I didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left me. Reagan was a Kennedy Democrat. Like that's who he was. Mm-hmm. So when I hear people calling themselves Reagan Republicans, I'm like, so you're a Kennedy Democrat? I'm like, no, I'm not. I was like, that's exactly who Reagan was. His politics were Kennedy's politics. And you can go through and you can look at it and like line up their speeches and see that was there. It's just been that much of our culture that has shifted so far trying to go off the ledge that it just
do you guys,
crazy.
I've asked you this before, but do you guys believe that our beliefs are accurately represented across the nation? Like, we really are 50-50 Democrat, Republican, and there are 50% of people that are on board with these things? Or do you think it's much more nuanced than that, or maybe that it's not represented correctly?
No, I don't think it's as simple as 50-50, as 50 believe the policies. I think it's really weird. I would say that it's more like there is 50% of the nation that falls in what I would consider the moderate zone. And then the other 50% is either on the extreme conservative side or the extreme liberal side. And it may actually shift a little bit farther the other way. I may even say it's more like 30% that's extreme conservative, maybe still 50-60% moderate, and then 10-20 of the extreme liberal side. Because
then
most Democrats that I know do not like the majority of the policies they're put out there. However, it's all about the messaging. And that's where that party does a great job of their messaging and rallying their base and getting them to vote party line straight through. And because they vote party line straight through and they just suck it up and whatever, because I would rather not have the alternative, that's where you wind up getting a 50-50 split. Because I've seen a lot of them that are in that moderate zone. And if you start talking to those that are in that moderate zone, the majority of Americans are a lot more conservative than they realize. But it goes back to most people don't even know why they vote one way or the other, especially when they're young. And I'm talking like 35 and under, typically. They don't know why. It's just, I've always voted this way. That's what I've always done. And there are some that are in their 50s and 60s. I don't know. I've just always voted this way. Like, I've had people in church that have done that. I've always been a Democrat. Why? And I ask them, why are you a Democrat? What on the Democrat Party platform do you actually support? And I've sat down with them and I've went through their party platform and they're like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Okay, well, how about this other party platform? Oh, yeah, I do agree with that. So are you really a Democrat then? Well, that's what I've always been. And that's where it's like, okay, but think back on Reagan, who was a Democrat. And he said, I was here. I didn't move. The party just kept shifting left, so it left me. I stayed right here. And that's what I think has typically happened. But now, though, that extreme conservative that I would say, and I'm fine being an extreme, call me that, I'm good with it. That extreme conservative, that they are the silent, I don't even know if we're a majority anymore. It's just more of a minority and we're still silent. But that extreme conservative wings, we have not moved. We have not budged. We have stood for biblical principles for all time. And it's like, that's what we're doing. But both parties keep shifting to the left. And because both parties keep shifting and we have stayed here, that's where a lot of us are sitting there and be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. There's nobody to vote for anymore. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because it's not like there was another party that was even farther right that has moved just into where I'm at. It's like, what do I do? And that's kind of the issue that we find ourselves in. And what's the solution? Got me.
That's tough. I appreciate you bringing some understanding to that, because that's not the way I've seen it. To me, way down here in the deep South, not associated with politics, it's just like, it's very conservative. So you have a bunch of crazy pants who have lost their minds, who are mainly in the metropolitan areas and up north somewhere, this fictitious place up north, and the rest of us are normal people. So it's like polar opposites, though, that it seems like this, it's either 50-50 or there is, a handful of crazy pants that are running the nation. And that's what you hear out of my tribe. It's like, so we're either so split that we just need to say, we're not going to come to terms. You guys go, typical Southerners. You guys go do your thing. We'll do our thing. We'll divorce one another, figure out what we can get done. Or we need to reclaim whatever has been taken by us, an extreme minority.
Yeah.
What say you, man, on that? Doesn't sound like the groundwork that you laid out right there.
It's not as simple as like crazy pants. Here's where it really comes down to. Why do people vote the way that they do? Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. It is, for the vast majority, it comes down to power and money. That's for the majority. The majority of people that do not make enough money are going to line up with the Democrat Party, who's going to give them a lot more government handouts, and they're going to get stuff for free. Not understanding that nothing is free. There's nothing that's truly free. Everything costs someone something. But in their situation, they don't have to pay for it. So they don't care who has to pay for it as long as they get it. And so many of them have sat there and we'll just kick the can down the road. And, my great grandchildren will have to foot the bill sometime. Somebody will figure something out to get us out of this. But right now, this is what we've got to do. And then you've got those on the other side of the party. The other side of the party, because there's only really one, that are both going after money. And it's like, well, I make enough money. I've worked hard for this. I want to keep it all. So I need to find all of the tax breaks I can possibly get to put more money in my pocket, because I don't want to help anybody else. I only want to help myself. I only want to look out for myself. So really what you've seen is those that are controlling the parties on both sides are doing it from one of two things. And even the ones that are controlling the party on the more liberal side, they realize the only way that they can find all of their advantages and tax breaks and have their money and power is to have a base that will vote for them. So they've got to give them a bunch of free stuff that they're going to make somebody else pay for. And why not make my enemies pay for it? And the issue that we need to find, I heard this, Steve Deace just did this yesterday on his podcast. And he said, we as Christians, he said, we are not, I'm going to say we should not be trying to save America. We should be trying to save Americans. It's about the people, because the people are not our enemy. The party is not our enemy. Our battle is a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual battle. The problem is when we become so divisive because we look at people as our enemy. If we'll have more one-on-one conversations with people, you find that it's really not that polarizing. Like, there are simple things on even the most divisive issues. Like, I've talked with people on the issue of life that completely disagree with me, and the vast majority of them will actually have a honest, calm conversation if you try. And then I've had people on all of the rainbow circle issues. Same thing. They'll have great conversations. It doesn't mean you have to agree, but at least you can have some understanding, have some compassion, show some kindness and mercy to people. And if you do that, it is possible to then win people over. And not to win them over to your side, but to win them over for Christ. And that's where I think ultimately we need to get. That's the only, in my opinion, that's the only solution for America to ever be saved, is for the Americans to be saved, because it is we, the people. That we are a nation, but this nation is comprised of individuals. We are a representative republic. It is we, the people, that is the true nation and government. And that's where, if we're going to start fighting amongst ourselves and be divided, we're going to do the enemy's work. That's what he wants. He wants us divided. God wants us united. So how do we do that? Be united in Christ. How do we do that? Treat people like he would treat people. And realize that we're all messed up. We've all done some stupid stuff and said stupid things. And it's like, we've got to get back there. But is the nation as a whole, are we seeing what is representative? I believe so. I believe that our voting is representative of the people that are there. What is being portrayed on the media is not accurate. It's not accurate. What you're seeing out there on the media, the divisiveness that's out there in the mainstream media, that is not accurate. It's not indicative of what is truly out there. I think it's nowhere close.
That's where I get riled right there, because like I appreciate what you're saying about treating others with dignity, honor, and respect, but treating them with what our founding father said, the appreciation for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and everyone having that opportunity. Like, yes and amen, and dialoguing with one another. It's the principalities part. It's the obvious demonic schemes and strongholds that I don't find the church pulling down.
No,
those types of things. I don't see believers going, this is not right. This is not true. Like, there's something, we all know it. We can sense it. We can feel it. We don't know what it is, but there's something wrong in our media. It's not truthful. And all of us are going, We don't have a unified voice yet to go, stop that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That in the name of Jesus thing. In the name of Jesus, stop that. Tell the truth. That we don't have that. And that's where I feel like we could be not aggressive, but those are the fights that I want to have. Those are the battles that I want to engage in. Not one-to-one, not with, Joe Billy Bob on the corner who believes differently about whatever. It's the obvious schemes of misinformation, of you can't talk about that, of you've got to use my proper pronouns, and what the ideology that's behind it, that is lifting up arguments against apparently our Sky Daddy from their perspective and their words. Like, we need Sky Daddy to enter the chat anytime he wants to.
Right?
I'm being serious. Like, I'm not big on like cursing or anything like that, but we do need Dad to enter the chat and begin to say, I'm with them, I'm not with them. Now I'm going to start in my house. I'm going to discipline my house, which obviously he has been doing. But now it's time to pull down some strongholds. Yeah. Let's start with this.
But
I wish we would have a collective effort on that.
We don't want that, though. We as Christians don't want that. How many Christians do you know that actually like rebuke, that like correction?
Discipline is not pleasing.
The majority of us don't want it.
It is not enjoyable for a time.
That's why so many Christians are continuing to hide their sins, and they don't want to, right? But if we had our Father show up on the scene, he could not say, I'm with them and I'm not with them. Because he would say, I'm not with any of you. Mm-hmm. You've all got it wrong because you're all seeking your own pleasure. And I envision him coming down and be like, so what part of that vote was crucifying your flesh? What part of that promotion of that candidate was denying yourself?
Well, there's got to be an intersection of faith and politics at some point, at some juncture. Because if we were to throw our hands off of it, this thing runs awry. And what's the point of having believers in this world anyway? If we're not salt and light and leaven in this whole equation, then we're caving. We're giving up ground. We're ceding ground to the enemy. So I hear you in him showing up and saying, I don't know, you're all amiss. And we need to humble ourselves, get on our knees, and figure out what it is. But we need the prophets to begin to arise, and we need the leaders to begin to speak for us, where maybe it's not somebody we would have chosen, but we recognize the voice of the Lord in them and go, yeah, that's our God. That's the same thing he was saying to me in my quiet time the other day. He's speaking for the Almighty. Maybe that's not a politician, but maybe that's somebody who informs a politician, or somebody who is able to have the counsel, the ear of them to say, listen, this is what he thinks.
Yeah. I would venture to say that there probably have been those, but we don't want to listen to them.
Yeah.
Because we all come in with our preconceived notions of what is right, what is wrong. We don't want the correction, because it's, John's saying it, it's not enjoyable. It is necessary. And yes, Brian, isn't he trying to do that through the church? Church is failing on its side. Yes. I would say he is trying to do that, or he has tried to do that. But I mean, the enemy's always going to want to shut us down and shut down our speech and what we're saying. I mean, just think about how few churches will preach on political issues. How few pastors will stand up from the pulpit and tell people how they should and shouldn't vote? Like, just me even mentioning that, there would be pastors listening to this and be like, I shouldn't tell people what to do. What do you do when you're preaching? Like, every Sunday, aren't you trying to tell people based on God's word what they should and shouldn't be doing, how they should and shouldn't be living their lives? And is the Bible not relevant for every area of our life? Why have we allowed ourselves to say, we got to draw the line on the Bible when it comes to politics? The Bible can't go in there. We definitely can't do it from the pulpit. Why? Because the federal government tells us that we can't. So it's like, no, the church should be doing that.
The separation of church and state is a uniquely, us thing that is not a biblical thing. We're supposed to leaven all entities. We are the salt and light.
So let me throw in a caveat here with clarification. The separation of church and state, how the majority of Americans believe the separation of church and state, is not a biblical concept. The separation of church and state, how the founding fathers envisioned the separation of church and state, where the state could not and should not direct or influence the church, but the church should correct and influence. And
if you read what their intentions were, it was to protect the church. It was to make sure she was not bullied into governmental oppression.
Yep.
It's not the way that we do it now. We're like, you shouldn't have anything to say or to speak into the government. We should only mind our own business. You should never speak out as the church. Absolutely not.
The way we do it is
speak
not
your mind. They wanted you to proclaim your lives boldly that we live for Christ.
Absolutely. And that way of doing it, the way that it was originally intended, is based and rooted in biblical principles. That's where you had the prophets going in and telling the kings what to do. However, the way that we do it isn't. It's completely different. So Brian saying also, is the way things are going not the way he wants it to go in light of understanding biblical prophecy concerning end times? I would say just that word "want" is the only sticking point for me. I don't believe that we are divided. I don't believe God wants us divided, but with his with his infinite wisdom and all-knowing ability, he already knows that we're going to be there. So there is that biblical prophecy. There is that end time. But that's not how he ever originally intended or wanted it to be. So just the want is the only thing that I just,
and
it's semantics.
And I'd hop in there and say Bible prophecy is a bit tricky depending on where you come from and your understanding of it at the time and how it all plays out. Because you may see it differently. I see a victorious bride awaiting the full adornment of her of her hubby coming.
And Brian saying most churches don't speak on these political issues because they are scared of losing their 501(c) status. Yes, that's which true. Means that most churches are afraid and fear.
Never understood that.
A reverential fear, isn't that also considered a love? And if it's the 501(c)(3), isn't that a love of money?
Here he comes.
And here's another thing. A church cannot lose their 501(c)(3) status. It can't happen. Just by being a church, you're already guaranteed status. The only thing that can and has happened in the past is a church has lost their tax-exempt letter. The IRS can take that away from you. And there was one church out of Ohio that had it removed from them because they were preaching on politics. And you know what they did? On Monday morning, they asked for a new letter. And you know what happened? The IRS gave them a new letter because they have to give you a letter based on your status, which they cannot remove.
What a fun game.
But we don't want to do that, which is why there's this whole movement about Pulpit Freedom Sunday. Once a year, you preach on politics and you ship off. It used to be sending them DVDs, which I would do, and send the DVDs to the IRS and then be like, bring it on. I dare you. And you know why the dare is there? Here's why we dare them to do it and why they won't do it and they haven't done it and they don't want to do it. Citizens cannot sue the IRS unless the IRS has done something to them first that is illegal. You just can't. We, the church, we can't go after them and say, hey, by the way, you're doing this wrong. Just you saying that we can't do it is wrong. We have to wait for them to actually do something to us, which is why it's like, do it. I dare you. Bring it on. I challenge you. Although I do think maybe the best thing is that 501(c)(3) status is an IRS tax code, and maybe the best thing that we could do is just abolish the IRS.
Ooh. Stop talking dirty to me. My goodness.
Get rid of them all.
I've
Flat
never
tax across the board.
The 501(c)(3) thing. So you're saying to your congregation that you might not get a tax credit for your donation, your charitable donation, or we might not get $32 off of a purchase of sound equipment. That's what you're saying? Well, we have bigger fish to fry.
Agreed. But that's
where our hearts are at. I've never understood that. That's always been a bit telling. It's like, if that's where our hearts are at, like, where's our money going? Are we making sure that we get every dollar for the dollar that we gave?
Yeah.
Or the dollar that we're using? Then we're thinking about mammon. Let's get on with it.
So John's saying, I've been told not to speak politics from the pulpit, but do it anyways. I did one of these. It was the most fun one that I had. And this was, I think it was the 2012 cycle. It was 2012 cycle, I believe. And that one, I took the main nominees that were on the Iowa ballot, and I took the top issues that should matter most to Christians. And I took those issues, so life issue, family, freedom of speech, religious liberties, that type of stuff. I took those issues, and on our screen, I played clips from every single one that it was out of their mouth. And if I couldn't get the clips, I had newspaper articles that were referenced, and you could see them. And after each one of these issues, like, here's what God says, here's what they say. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but I think God just did. It was like, which the funniest part about it was right afterwards, then I had people coming up and go like, so what do we do? I was like,
yeah, well, welcome to the party.
So it was kind of.
Have you ever considered running for local government? Yeah. That's like I'm just saying as one of the answers because it's like, well, what do I do? Well, we better get in there.
Yep,
Start running for local
that's the other
government.
thing. It is much easier for us to influence local government, and local government has a much easier time of influencing
Oh, they
state
control
government, which has
everything.
a much greater time of influencing national.
Counties down here. I assume you guys have counties, but counties, that is one of the most influential and powerful units
Yep.
of government there is, at least in our world. Like whether you can burn, what you can haul, where your boundaries are, what funding you get. Counties are the whole COVID thing showed us how much power they had because they could open and close businesses. They could close off sectors of the community. It was crazy.
Do you want maybe my right as we get ready to wrap up? Here's my maybe political prophetic thing for you.
Ooh, I do love me some prophecy.
The immigration issue.
Mm-hmm.
You will see the party that is in favor of mass immigration retreat on that issue. It won't take too long after a mass exodus comes in. It's not called maybe an invasion comes in, because what's going to happen is all of their pet projects, the things that they love most, are going to be affected by it in such a degree that all of the taxes are going to be skyrocketing and going through the roof. And because of money, they will start retreating and they will start going back and changing course. It's only going to happen when it affects their pocketbook, but it's going to happen. Because you think about this, like what's going to happen with 8 million people that come in that have to go into our education system when we already can't afford to pay teachers a good wage and they're overrun and schools are shutting down. What's going to happen? The schools don't have enough money. They don't have enough resources. So the only way to get more money and more resources is to keep raising taxes. And then it hurts.
Thanks, guys.
And all their other pet projects.
In the meantime,
but they don't want to think
hold
that
down
far
for it.
ahead. So in the meantime, it's going to get interesting. Hey, anything else, Jarrod?
He ascends to 30,000 feet and ejects.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm out.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I think we had a good one.
All right. Well,
tell him.
All right. Until next time, stay blessed. Enjoy God's best. Have a great day.